Welcome to In Edina, a program about the people, places, and activities all in the city of Edina. I'm your host, Lillian McDonald. We bring you this broadcast from a beautiful, beautiful brownstone home, a model built by Noonan Construction on France Avenue. Our program this time is dedicated to volunteerism. It's an opportunity for those who've never volunteered to get involved and to also celebrate the work of volunteers. Joining us also to talk about the Day of Service in Edina are Ari Larson-Manti, President of Edina's Chamber of Commerce, and Molly Anderson, who is serving on the steering committee for the Edina's Day of Service, and you're a student at Edina High School, junior. Thanks so much for joining us, ladies.
It's great to be here.
Really appreciate your time and your service. All right, let's start with you first. What is this Day of Service all about?
Well, you know, Edina always does volunteer, and we take everything in Edina to a new level, and this is a new experience for all of us. It's sponsored by Connecting with Kids, which is an organization which includes the city, the school, and the business community. We've been around about 11 years, and we focus on 40 assets that we view as important to raising great kids. And if we didn't have that going, Molly wouldn't be with us today. So that's kind of a proof in the pudding, as they say. And so this is our day to bring your family out, to have businesses give back to the community, and really show that we get what it means in Edina to give back.
Now, of course, this broadcast is broadcasting before and after the Day of Service, which is October 24th.
Yes.
So it's really an opportunity for those to look ahead and also stay in touch with volunteers.
Exactly. We're hoping it shows you to keep it going.
So the idea then is if you've never volunteered, come get your feet wet. Pick one of the volunteer projects.
Absolutely.
Try it on for size.
Yep.
And see what you can carry with you going forward.
Absolutely.
Beyond the Day of Service.
Bring the whole family out. We want everybody to come, all the generations to
And
come
of course,
out.
if you're not new to volunteering, it's a chance for you to do the same old thing and celebrate your work together in the community. Molly, when does Day of Service run? How long is it?
It runs from about 9 to 2, and then afterwards we're actually having a celebration at Edina High School for all the volunteers.
All the work you've done that day, you can come hang out, have a good time, and celebrate. Probably some music, some food, and some fun.
We're actually hoping to have it be waste-free.
Oh, okay, great.
Just, help the environment.
It's another effort to help the community stay strong. Beautiful. Day of Service, what are just some of the things? I know there are dozens of activities, and I wish we could mention all of the opportunities to volunteer in the community. But let's just highlight 2 or 3 events going on.
Sure. I know one of them that we're working on is M&I Bank is going to try and have a Shred It Day at the branch on France Avenue and 69th. We're working the details out, but that's an example. Bring your goodies, get them shredded. And I think Molly's got a couple that the kids are working on.
Well, a couple that we are working on is at a lot of parks in Edina. We're really hoping to have trees be planted as well as ridding the parks of buckthorn. Also at the high school, we're having a huge project that's Kids Against Hunger. And we need like about 450 volunteers there, so it's going to be huge, and they're going to be packaging food for underprivileged children.
That's big. We've got someone from VEEP on the program a little bit later in the program talking about the huge need for food in the community. And also Fairview Southdale, I know they're having an event on that same day where folks can come together and bag some items and send it overseas to men and women in the armed services.
Isn't that fabulous?
And that's just a few of the ideas of things that people can do to get involved and volunteer. Lots of folks are.
The faith community is huge part of this component. All the parishes in town are getting involved with doing their thing, which just adds to the whole climate of everyone pitching in and giving back to Edina.
And there's no age limit, right? It doesn't matter how old you are to get involved, to volunteer. We'll find something that fits your age and skill.
Yeah, we're hoping for everybody in the community to come out and just do something nice for somebody else.
Great. You know, you're only about, what, 16 years of age?
Yes.
I just have to ask this question. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I kind of do. Why is it important for you, youth, to get involved?
Well, the reason why I got involved personally is because Edina, we have amazing schools, we have an amazing community, and we have just a huge community of people who are willing to help us no matter what, and I really feel as though I should be giving back to that.
Well, and not everybody feels that way, so it's kind of nice that we've got a shot in the arm with youth. You're also on the steering committee.
Yes, I am.
So that puts a fresh perspective and a fresh spin on a routine event, right?
I think they're teaching us things, just as we hope we're teaching them.
Yeah, and that's the
Big.
trade-out, isn't it? And that's kind of the
Absolutely.
theme around volunteerism, period. It's,
Yep.
you know, old and young coming together, different unique skills, diversity, and a lot
Absolutely.
of different projects. All right, so if we want to get involved, we should probably register, pick an activity, or learn some more. And if we want to stay involved, we can go here anyway.
Yep.
And that's the website, edinadayofservice.org. Right? Is
Yep.
that the best way for
Yes.
folks to hook up?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Ari, Molly, thank you very much for joining us on Edina. We really appreciate all you do for the community. Keep up the good work.
Thanks for
Thank
having us.
you.
Volunteers make a difference in people's lives, and here's your chance to volunteer in Edina. Joining us to talk about volunteers in the school system, we have Edina Resource Center Coordinator Valerie Burke and Mr. Volunteer Bob Gubrub. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for
Thank you
having
very
us.
much.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the Resource Center, first of all. What's the mission of the Resource Center?
Mission is to connect anyone who lives, works, or goes to school here with community resources and information.
And you connect people who are interested in volunteering. as well.
Absolutely. We began a few years ago realizing that we had a lot of folks who wanted to give back. So we put a volunteer button on our website, and we were connecting people to the library and to VEEP and to many community agencies. And it occurred to us, we need volunteers right here
Right here
in our
at home.
Edina Public Schools. So,
Sure.
so now we've been asked to expand that opportunity for folks.
So you've been putting together volunteer programs in school, and you piloted a couple of programs last year, and they proved to be quite successful.
Absolutely.
And so you're looking to grow those programs?
We are. Last year was spent on piloting and also kind of just building the sandbox, getting the volunteer policy, getting our process in place so that people are comfortable with it, and piloting a couple programs.
So you had about 125 volunteers involved, and Bob is one of those volunteers.
Yep.
And Bob, you work in the, is it called literacy training program?
Yes,
Okay.
Cornelia School.
Okay.
And I worked with both first graders and second graders. This year is second graders.
Okay.
And we get together once a week for an hour. There are 6 students. They come, they have a selection of books that they can read, and for 10 minutes, each of them reads to me out loud, and it's called skill reinforcement.
Do you like to read?
Yeah, I
And
do.
you
yeah.
must like to listen to people reading too, right?
Well, yes, I do, as a matter of fact. The only challenge is sometimes you get the same story,
Over
2
and
or 3
over.
times. Right?
But you know, it does make a difference when you get a chance to read to somebody you don't know. And they hear from an audience that they don't normally hear from, and that makes a
That I
difference,
think
too.
is more true probably of the homework helper program, which
Okay.
is after school from 4 to 5. And here are students that are really looking for help with their homework. And so we spend an hour working on those assignments that they haven't been able to complete in school during in the classroom. And so we work on math, we work on reading skills.
How's your math and your reading skills? I mean, do you have to be current?
Well,
for me,
it's
I
kind
don't-
of interesting. The
Yeah.
reading is okay, but some of the math is new math.
Okay.
And so I've had to be, what do you want to call it, alert.
Retooled.
And yeah, right. Yeah,
That's what I call it,
yeah,
retooling. Well,
Okay.
what a great deal. They get some help, and you do too.
Yes, right, yeah, right.
But really, these programs are making a big difference. We're seeing increase in skills and abilities in young students, and social skills and abilities in young
Absolutely. I mean,
students.
really, our goals are twofold. Academic enrichment, of course. We want our kids to be able to have opportunities to enrich get some help on what they need help on. But really, a bigger goal is probably connecting community with kids, letting our kids know the community cares about them and is interested in their academic success.
And that can make a difference. You've got immigrants and refugees in the communities I know that are trying to fit into school systems. They don't have people who know English at home that can help them with their homework. So
Yeah.
that makes a big difference for
It was a
you.
real eye-opener for me that I didn't know that many of the homes that these kids come from do not, English is not their first language. And so the parents can't really help them because they can't read English.
And that's nobody's fault. That's
No,
just the way
that's
it
just
is.
the way it is, yeah.
And you have many students too, not just English second language students.
Mm-hmm.
How are the students selected for the programs? Is it always grades, or maybe is it just because they need some time after school?
Well,
for
we've talked
mentoring?
about this is piloting. So we've got our systems down. We kind of watched and learned from a couple of things Bob was involved. And now my job is to really work with each school to kind of customize what each school needs. Cornelia is a school that has a high English language learning population. Some of our other schools don't have that necessarily. So we'll build, they'll have probably different volunteer opportunities. Another program we did last year was at Creek Valley, and it was a writing lab during the day. It was just time for kids to practice writing. As they, especially, and they were more 4th and 5th graders. So kind of preparing for the middle school and high school experience.
Well, Valerie, Bob, thank you very much for your efforts in the programs. They are making a difference. And if folks at home want to get involved, they can simply go to the Resource Center website and
Click on volunteers.
Volunteer. Thank you very much. Have a great school year.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
A longtime organization called VEEP, Volunteers Enlisted to Assist People, has a great reputation in Edina, and that reputation is growing. And here to talk a little bit about it, Executive Director Susan Russell-Freeman. Thank you very much for joining us on In Edina.
Thanks, Lillian.
You have a growing organization, but it's not bad news. It's good news.
It's not all bad news.
Yeah.
That's the good thing, I guess. VEEP provides services to low-income neighbors in Edina, Bloomington, Richfield, and a portion of South Minneapolis. Most of the people we serve work. They work in jobs that don't have benefits or low-paying jobs, maybe in the hospitality industry, maybe in aid industry, health aides, entry level. The area that we serve, Edina, Bloomington, Richfield, is the largest hospitality region in the state of Minnesota. And from that, VEEP now has the largest low-income or working poor population in the state. That's who our client is, and it is rising. This year, in July, VEEP became the largest food shelf in the state because we are now serving more than 6,000 people a month at our food shelf alone, and that doesn't include our other programs of social services.
And that's the growth we're talking about,
That's the
which
growth.
is unfortunate. There is more need for VEEP programs and services.
There is.
But the good news is there's more people reaching out.
The community's responded. They always do. VEEP's been serving Edina since 1984, and Edina has always responded. There are people in Edina who are in need. They're your neighbors. They're working in the hospitality industry. They're working in the healthcare industry. They may be in the nursing home with your mother. They may be a child care for your children. They may be helping you at the coffee shop, but they are your neighbors. They live here, and right now they're having some tough times.
So your program is reaching out and helping out kinds of services you provide.
Food shelf. We do offer a food pantry where people may come and get a 5-day supply of food once a month. Social services that help people who are struggling with housing, transportation needs. We help repair cars to get them back on the road to get to work. We help provide bus passes to get on the bus to get to work. Everything is to provide stability within the family.
And a lot of people think that, in Edina there shouldn't be any need, but the fact of the matter is there's need everywhere, and Edina is not the only place in need. And without programs like yours and without volunteers to make programs run like yours, we can't make it happen.
VEEP in 2008 utilized 700 volunteers. And this year, the good news this year is, in addition to our growing need, we've now expanded hours into the evening to serve more of our working poor. So we now have opened up evening hours for volunteer opportunities and group volunteer opportunities, whether it's your corporate, your congregation, your organization, your family. We do have opportunities for you. And I think that's an excellent way to get in touch with what's going on in your community and to give back.
Yeah, we can shelter ourselves from tough times, or we can jump in, roll up our sleeves, and help everybody. And ultimately, that helps all of us in tough times.
And even in these tough times, the holidays will come.
Yeah.
And we will be ready. And I think we'll be ready because of your viewers, because of people who are going to donate time or dollars or goods, and it will make a huge difference in a family's life. Even though you're experiencing some tough economic times, maybe one or two of the parents is out of work, the children still have to go to school, they still have to eat. I think, though, that providing the necessities to have a holiday experience, regardless of what you celebrate, provides memories and stability in the family. And that's really what we're all about, because these stable families strengthen our community.
With the holidays coming, do you need more volunteers? Is that what you need?
Absolutely. Volunteers, we're going to be utilizing, we need food, perishable goods, dollars. This year different, we are providing gift certificates to the parents for their teenagers, because none of us know what to buy a
No.
teenager. You know,
Yeah.
you're lucky if you, as a
Yeah.
parent, you know. But we will open a huge holiday store in December where we will have toys, donated toys from the community for children birth through 13, and then the teenagers, the parents, will be able to get them a $15 gift certificate. So that's new for us this year. We're asking people to maybe donate $15 gift certificates from Target or Walmart or a place. We don't want large gifts. We need
Right.
everything needs to be under $25.
Wonderful. Susan, thank you so much for your work. Where can I get involved? Where can our viewers get involved?
They can go on our website,
Okay.
www.veepvolunteers.org. We have volunteer information and orientation sessions weekly, sometimes twice, or they can just call our office at 952-888-9616 and ask to set up a volunteer.
Appointment. Wonderful. Susan Russell Freeman, thank you very much for joining us on In Edina.
Thank you
The
for your
best to you.
support.
You're welcome. If you've ever had to stay or visit somebody at Fairview Southdale Hospital, no doubt you've run into one of their smiling, capable volunteers. Here's an opportunity for you to get involved, and joining us are two volunteers from Fairview Southdale, Randy Weringer and Vi Straub. Thanks so much for your volunteer work. What a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really
Glad to be
appreciate
here.
having you here, and especially your service in the hospital. Randy, tell us first, how did you get involved in becoming a volunteer?
I had a spouse that was a cancer patient for many years, and at Fairview Southdale, and I just was very appreciative of the care that she received from the nursing staff.
So this is your way of giving back.
Absolutely. Anything I can do to assist them.
Help
I-
everybody out. That's great. And Vi, how about you? Why did you get involved?
I was a caregiver for my husband, not necessarily in the hospital, but I too appreciate what the doctors and the nurses do. I'm retired, I have spare time, I'm reasonably healthy. I wanted to contribute.
But
My
you don't have
work-
medical backgrounds. Neither one of you do.
No.
You weren't nurses by trade.
No.
You didn't give shots in your spare time.
No.
No, not at
I mean,
all.
maybe you knew how to take a temperature, right? So in other
Yes.
words, you don't have to be skilled in the medical field to volunteer, but there's still plenty of work to do. Vi, what kind of jobs are there to do for volunteers?
There are all kinds of jobs. We do clerical work, we do desk work, there's telephone work, there's behind the scenes work, mail delivery, but we're also on the floors helping the nurses too, doing errands, taking memos back and forth, blood runs, whatever needs to be done for the nurses. It depends on which department you're
So
in.
indirectly, you are an extension of the hospital. I mean,
I
your
think
work is
so.
service.
Yes.
Huge, huge service. What's the requirements, Randy, to get involved?
Minimum age is 14, and there is no upper age limit as long as
So
you're.
sky's the limit.
Absolutely. And you go through the application process. There's a health assessment that's done, interview,
Okay.
and then you receive training in the area that you end up working in.
And they match you too. If you like to do clerical work, they'll put you there, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah. So that's kind of nice too. So if you have a special interest of things that you want to do, or I understand you're a floater, Randy, and that basically means
You-
fill in whenever you can.
Yeah, they will train you to work in different positions, and then you can fill in as the need arises.
Okay, wonderful. How many volunteers per day does it take to run in the hospital at all?
I'd say about 80 volunteers a day they need to fill the positions. They probably don't always get that many, but there's openings.
But
for
that's
that.
the need.
That's the need,
80 or
definitely.
more volunteers a day just to keep the hospital going.
Exactly.
That's volunteer help. That's a lot. You like it?
I love it.
You must. You've
I
been
work
doing
in
it for how long?
5.5 years. Same day surgery, recovery room, or else I'm at the desk.
Okay. And
Randy?
Randy, what do you do?
I've been there about 5.5 years.
Okay.
Right now I'm in same-day surgery primarily.
So how do you help during that time?
We work in the recovery area, and we clean the carts, put new linens on, discharge the patients, and run any errands that the nurses would need.
That's a huge extension and a huge help in a hospital. Well, I really appreciate all the service you do, and we'll encourage folks to get involved by contacting Fairview Southdale Hospital. Thanks so much for joining us on In Edina.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for having us.
Senior Community Services is a program dedicated to helping senior citizens and also caregivers. And joining us to talk about SCS, social worker Gail Wright-Fickbaum. Thanks a lot for joining us on In Edina.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be
Appreciate it.
here.
Yeah. You provide a lot of services at SCS. Let's talk a little bit about the organization as a whole first.
Yeah, Senior Community Services has been around for over 50 years and has been dedicated in the whole time it's been in existence to helping seniors meet their needs.
And there are a lot of needs, and it seems like it's getting more complicated with health care and prescriptions.
Right, housing issues, there's all kinds of needs, and actually in our communities there's all kinds of resources. We are resource rich. The problem comes when people need to find the right resource that's going to fit their needs in their particular situation. And a lot of what we do is help people do that.
And that takes a lot of outreach, which is what you and about 6 other social workers do for SCS.
Correct.
Is putting resources and caregivers and seniors all in the same room and helping them find each other.
Exactly. We have 7 outreach social workers. We serve all of suburban Hennepin County, and we are often meeting with seniors and their families in their homes, talking about their strengths and their needs and helping them find the right resources to maintain their independence for as long as possible.
And that's the goal.
That is
Stay
the goal.
independent for as long as possible. And that's hard to do when you get older, when things break down in the house, for instance. And it's
Exactly.
hard for you to fix it on your own.
Right. Maintaining the home can be a major issue for people. Cleaning their home, people are often dealing with things like arthritis and other chronic conditions, and even just making a meal on a day-to-day basis can be a challenge.
Painting the house on the outside, maybe you used to be able to touch up that trim, in your 50s and 60s, but now that you're in your 70s and 80s, getting up and down a ladder
Right,
isn't
exactly.
what it used to be. Yeah, that's tough. You also help caregivers, too, who may be struggling with like the growing parents, for instance.
Exactly.
Dealing with a driver's license issue.
Right. There's a lot of what we do is kind of help people talk through the situations that they're finding themselves in with their older relatives, and just kind of helping them, giving them tips and figuring out some ways to address things. And sometimes you just have to wait. There aren't really magic answers for these things, but sometimes you can kind of help clue people into what might help them along in the process to get their loved one to accept maybe some services that they haven't been willing to yet.
And I think it's really important to say that senior citizens are very independent people. It's not about taking away things
Right.
from senior citizens. It's about, as you say, plugging them into systems that are already there to help them. In addition to housing issues that come up, you probably see a lot of healthcare issues.
Yes, we do. Yeah, a lot of people have health concerns. A lot of people need help in their home, even with things like personal cares, things like getting the groceries. And sometimes people are just extremely isolated in their homes, and just having somebody come in and visit them on a regular basis
Is a big deal.
can make a huge difference.
Yeah, well, when you're getting up there in age, you're losing your friends, and they're passing on, and your friendship base is narrowing, and so it's helpful to have new relationships come in your life at a time of need. Paperwork, you must help with paperwork. It's complicated when you get older.
It is insurance paperwork, and just think of all the paperwork you get yourself in your own home.
Multiply it times 10 then.
Right, exactly. And we do get involved with that. And another program that we offer is health insurance counseling. And we have 2 paid staff and a tremendous number of well-trained volunteers that help people with questions about insurance and paperwork they get in the mail, Medicare questions, Part D prescription drug coverage questions, all of that.
The caregiver program is something that we probably should plug simply because this is one important way that people get connected to. And you offer sessions, is it twice a week?
Well, we have caregiver support groups that meet throughout the suburban Hennepin County, and one in Edina that meets the first and third Thursday of each month from 1 to 2:30 at the Edina Senior Center. It's a great opportunity for caregivers to support each other in their role. It's well documented that caregivers, it's a very stressful job being a caregiver.
So caregivers can get plugged in, seniors can get plugged in, and it helps the community as well. Thank you very, very much, Gail, for joining us on the program. If folks want to get involved, there's over 6,800 volunteers in your program as well, which would be helpful for volunteers to get involved. How should they get a hold of SCS?
They can call our main office at 952-541-1019. We'd love to have more volunteers.
All right. Thanks so much, Gail, for joining us
Thank
on
you.
Edina. I hope you have an opportunity to take part in Edina's Day of Service on October 24th or volunteer at your convenience to one of the fine organizations in our community. I'd also like to take a moment and thank Noonan Construction for letting us bring you this broadcast from brownstones on France. Beautiful new model. Thanks to all of you for watching and to all of our guests for appearing on In Edina. For now, I'm your host, Lillian McDonald. Until next time, have a great day.